So welcome to this Teaching with CLARIN session. In this session, we will showcase 9 open source training materials that we have, that the lecturers from the CLARIN network have created, using CLARIN services, tools, and resources to teach their students how to collect, explore, and share digital collections. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Juliana van der Lek, Training and Education Officer at CLARIN. And I'm going to moderate this session together with my colleague, Francesca Frontini, who is not only a member of the CLARIN Board of Directors, but also a very good researcher and a lecturer in linguistics. So this is the schedule in a nutshell. We will have even shorter presentations, 3-minute presentations, showcasing the teaching materials. After which we will have the Teaching with CLARIN Award that Francesca will present. And then we conclude with the next steps. But first, a short introduction. As Francesca indicated this morning, our goals for training and education have been to increase the visibility of the training and educational materials and our activities, to build a sustainable network of CLARIN trainers, provide funding instruments, not only for research, but also for teaching and education, and also support the integration of CLARIN into the curricula. Regarding the use of CLARIN at universities, I would like to highlight this project that CLARIN is a part of, the Upskills project, whose aim is to increase the skills of linguistics and language students. This project will end, now we are in the middle of the project, and it will end next year. How we will tackle this skills gap through by developing and specific guidelines for lecturers, and also developing learning materials on relevant topics to help the students increase their skills and find suitable jobs in the market. So after a thorough skills gap analysis, we have developed or mapped this new language data and project specialist profile together with all the required knowledge, skills, and competencies that a graduate would need when joining the market. If you're interested in learning more about this profile, please join our Bazaar session that focuses on training and knowledge exchange, where one of my colleagues in the Upskills project will tell you more about this profile and how CLARIN can contribute with knowledge and resources. The first deliverables of the project are available on our website. And now I'm going to give the floor to my colleague Francesca, who will tell you how we have collected all these training materials.
Yes, thanks a lot, Juliana, for this very interesting introduction. As Juliana has said, the materials and the presentations that you will see in this session come from this Teaching CLARIN in Times of Corona special call, which we came up with during, I think it was the second lockdown. And it was the idea also to acknowledge and showcase what we believed many teachers, lecturers throughout the CLARIN consortium have done to move their courses online, to make materials available. So you may remember that there is another call, the training suite call, which is still open. But in this case, we were really kind of a bit more lowering the bar, so to say, not in terms of quality, but in terms of what we demanded, of the types of adaptation that we demanded for the courses, which were then accepted as they were proposed without adaptation, maybe for the special needs of CLARIN. But nevertheless, the material is very high quality and it's very relevant for CLARIN. We received 9 submissions from 6 different countries. And the call also was imagined to also attract participants with 3 awards foreseen for 350 euros each. Actually, 2 of these awards have been actually already assigned by jury, and you will know the names of the winner after the end of the presentations. But one of these awards is going to be chosen by you. That is to say, there will be a vote, live vote at the end of the session. So please pay attention to the presentation so that you can choose. And crucially, no, I think that's it. I think we can start with the first presentations. So some of these presentations will be live, some others will be recorded. So we start with applied language technology is Tuomo's presentation, I guess, whom I am going to have to step in for because he unfortunately fell ill and he notified that he would not be able to attend. So this, next slide, please. This course, as you can see, addresses the basic language technology and applications, the basics of a language technology and application. It is it has no prerequisites, so it's for everyone. And it's aimed at showing that language technology is accessible and applicable. It is really easy to follow for non-specialists, and it will gradually build up vocabulary and competencies. I have to say that it is a very interesting course, which I have already kind of taken a sneak peek at. It features very important libraries for our domain, such as Space, Stanza, and other Python libraries. It utilizes Jupyter notebooks for Python exercises, as well as has a plethora of YouTube videos. So I think that you will have the opportunity to take a look at this course. Maybe we can put it in the chat. So yeah, that's all for now, and we can move on to the second presentation. So in this case, we have a video, I guess, that Juliana is going to play.
Welcome, everyone. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Anika Nicolosi, Associate Professor at the University of Parma, Italy. What I'm going to tell you today is my training proposal for teaching CLARIN Award, Archilochus of Paros, Elegiac Fragment XML archive. Let me start by giving you some background information. The seminar was held online at the University of Parma on February 2021. Co-tutor was Beatrice Nava, University of Bologna, PhD student. Seminar was developed inside of DEA, Digital Edition of Archilochus project, and it could become a model reusable for other fragmentary poems. The training materials are specifically developed for higher education purposes as an intensive course. The intended audience should preferably have at least 1 year of university studies in ancient Greek. Beginner-level skills in research method, data acquisition, and management are also required. The format includes at least 5 meetings of 2 hours each one, 3 lessons to explain what a traditional critical edition is and how to create a digital scholarly edition, and to explain the work, 2 laboratories to test competence and to realize a fragment. The seminar teaches practical skills in XML, TEI coding of ancient literary text, as well as an overview of the state of the art in the field of scientific and digital critical editions. Students encode selected fragment of Archilochus of Paros, an ancient Greek poet of about 7th century before Christ, and thus they can directly test the potential of digital philology. I'd like to expand on goals and objectives of the training materials. They are improve textual criticism on ancient Greek fragmentary text, improve competence on text annotation, and reach a reliable corpus for a digital scholarly edition of an ancient Greek poet. CLARIN resources were used to explain the benefits of using research infrastructures to store and share datasets. All the training materials, including slides and exercises, are now available in the CLARIN repository, H4CLARIN repository. I want to leave you with this final thought. Storing and sharing data on a reliable and sustainable infrastructure such as CLARIN was highly relevant, especially in time of COVID-19. Thank you for your attention.
So now it's time for Erik Axelson, Computational Morphology with Helsinki Finland States Technology. So please go ahead and let's hear about it.
So hello everybody, my name is Erik Axelson and I will present the web course Computational Morphology with HFST. Next slide please. Thank you. It is basically the previous slide. Thank you. So it's basically an adaptation of the teaching material of the course Computational Morphology taught by Matthias Kravitz at the University of Helsinki. The examples and exercises of this original course use command line tools of HFST Toolkit. HFST stands for Helsinki Finite State Technology, which is a toolkit intended for processing natural language morphologies. Next slide. Using an earlier version of this course material, we have developed an interactive version implemented as Jupyter notebooks. It uses the same examples and exercises, but HFST command line tools have been replaced with HFST Python interface. Next slide. The course is offered as a part of CLARIN or sophomorial resources. It is a self-study course, so there are no time limits, no grades are given. It contains 7 lectures. They are tutorial type lectures with assignments at the end. Prerequisites include foundations of general linguistics and some programming experience. Basically, the course demonstrates how HFST tools can be used for generating finite state morphologies, and it is suitable as a complement to a more theory or linguistics-oriented course on morphology. Next slide. Goals of the course are that you will understand basic theory on finite state automata, are able to design morphological lexica, know how to write morphophonological rules, and understand the diversity of morphological structure among languages, and know how to take these differences into account when designing computational models of morphology. Next slide. Accessing the course, you can download it on your own computer or more easily access it at CSC, that is Finnish IT Center for Science notebook service. Although if you are not a member of Finnish universities, you need a separate visitor account. We are working on getting the course more easily accessible in the future. Next slide. And finally, you have 2 screenshots of the lectures. In this one, you first have a short theory part, then you are given some example code that you can run and visualize the result. Next slide. And this one, you are given an assignment and you have to write your own solution, possibly modify it to get it work correctly. And in some cases, you are given a piece of code that you might have to modify yourself. And finally, possibly some open questions for you to think about. I think that was it. Thank you for listening.
Thanks a lot, Erik. And now it's time for Diana Maynard, who will present her training material on GATE, an open source toolkit for natural language processing.
Thank you. First slide, please. So GATE is a toolkit for NLP. It's freely available and open source. It's been around for around 20 years, but it's in constant development. So this course is all about teaching GATE and NLP. GATE has plugins for both high and low level NLP components. It covers 25 languages and has around 100 ready-made applications. Next slide, please. So the aims of the course then, it has multiple aims: to provide an introduction to NLP for those new to the area, to show people how to perform NLP tasks for lots of different domains and applications. So both basic tasks like tokenization, part-of-speech tagging and so on, but also complex applications like sentiment analysis, hate speech, misinformation detection and so on. It also provides instruction on how to use the GATE toolkit and the applications in an off-the-shelf fashion for various tasks. It also enables people to learn how to adapt and develop the tools themselves for other tasks and for adapting to different domains, languages, and so on. And finally, for software developers and programmers, it lets them use GATE programmatically and teach them how to integrate it with other tools and systems. So, for example, other CLARIN resources. Next slide, please. So the course is for a variety of people. It's really suitable for people from any discipline and skill level. So on the one hand, programmers who want to integrate it in their own software or extend its functionality. For linguists who want to develop new tools without needing to understand any of the programming part of it. For social scientists and humanities researchers who just want to use the off-the-shelf tools and don't want to develop anything themselves. So they just want to process their data. And also for anyone who just wants to learn about NLP, GATE kind of provides ways to teach them how to learn about NLP in a hands-on way. Next slide, please. So there are 12 course modules and they can be mixed and matched as needed. So there's 4 which have sort of basic content, 4 which are application oriented, and 4 which are more sort of specialist content, including a code clinic where people can get help with their own particular problems, applications, code, and whatever. Next slide, please. So the format then, it can be taught both in person, online in a kind of hybrid approach, or as self-study. So for COVID, we actually adapted the whole in-person course to be taught online in a hybrid approach. And all the materials are available for self-study as well. So it's been developed and taught by a whole team of topic specialists. As I said, 12 mix and match modules. Typically, when they're taught, they last about 3 hours each. So there's a mixture of information about how to do things, explanation, and then exercises with hints and answers, and discussion points throughout. There are also further exercises if people want to explore things in more depth. Everything is available for download for free. Videos of the real-time courses are also available on demand, as are personalized courses. Next slide, please. That's just an example of one of the exercises, so very simple, using GATE to process HTML documents. Next slide, please. And finally, so the course has been running for over 12 years. But it's constantly being updated and improved. And as I said, COVID-19 led to the whole online talk course. Elements of it also are often used for different smaller or more specialized courses, so they can be mixed and matched for other purposes. And other people have been using various elements of the course with our permission in their own student courses.
Yeah, okay, this is the last slide. Thank you very much, Diana. And we continue with the introduction to digital humanities with Zuzana Neverilova. Okay, who is here? Perfect. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. So could you move to the next slide, please? My name is Zuzana Neverilova, and I would like to present an introductory course about digital humanities. Well, I know that digital humanities is an extremely broad topic, but the aim of this course is to present digital humanities as something doable, and also to encourage students to think of their own projects as digital humanities projects. So I wanted the students to see that it can be quite straightforward, since the data sets, the processing pipelines, the interfaces are available and ready to use. On the left side, you can see the topics that are covered by the course. The course is slightly more focused on text processing, since the students come mostly from the language studies, although it is open to everyone from the Faculty of Arts. In the digital course, I provided 10 lessons with slides and my comments in videos. And practical sessions are mostly commented Python Jupyter notebooks, and few of tasks such as try to install this software and try it on some sample data. During the semester, we also dedicated some of our online meetings, not only to consult what was in the video lessons and practical tasks, but also to discuss the experience and feelings. I think it was necessary, since some of the students felt really lost or even hopeless during the lockdown. Unfortunately, there is not much feedback on the course, but this one you can see on the bottom right was quite encouraging for me. A student told me that even without any prior experience with OCR and not much experience with programming, he was surprised how easily he could proceed with cloud-based OCR in the Jupyter notebook. So I hope the course helped the students overcoming the technology barrier And this semester we are going hybrid since we have students abroad. They couldn't get their visa to go to the Czech Republic. And for me personally, the interest in hybrid lecture is a great reward. So that's all. And I'm happy to answer any questions here or via Slack or email. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Zuzana. We proceed with the presentation by Mietta Lennes on Introduction to Speech Analysis.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mietta Lennes, and I work at the University of Helsinki for the Language Bank of Finland. It's a collection of services provided by CLARIN. Next slide, please. We offer 3 different online courses every year, and the courses are open to students in the University of Helsinki, as well as other universities in Finland and abroad. So we really need to provide the content in English as well as in Finnish. And the course Introduction to Speech Analysis happened to be the last one with materials only in Finnish. So last autumn, it really became necessary to do something about it. And I decided to translate and publish the materials because there was no restricted content included, and I was allowed to do anything I wanted with it, basically. Next slide, please. So this course has been around for a long time, and the first version was given in about 2002, and the content was transferred to Moodle in 2009. And so it has been tested a number of times, and the general structure has been found to work for a number of different areas and students, at least in principle. And many researchers tend to work with speech, and they want to transcribe their recordings or to take measurements from audio signals. So the content can be useful for them. And because we have the PRAT program available that is developed by Paul Bourgeois and David Wenig in Amsterdam, it's a speech research toolkit that's really a nice platform for providing this kind of course. And in addition to PRAT, we also have the materials that are persistently available via CLARIN that are absolutely essential for this kind of teaching. So next slide, please. I completed the translations of the 6 lessons last autumn and the background materials, and I decided to publish the content via this library of open educational resources. It's not a CLARIN service, but a relatively new national service in Finland, and it's good because it supports parallel content in several languages, at least in principle, and it applies the standard metadata model, and you can cite the resources. So most of the content is archived on the platform itself, and there are also links to external resources and YouTube and so on. Next, please. I also needed to publish the same material as a static snapshot for download, so I decided to put it on Zenodo, and people can use it there as well if they want and cite it. We also wanted to advertise the training materials via the Language Bank of Finland, so we created this page where we intend to collect more of the training materials. And we will make a second test run of the bilingual speech analysis course this autumn, and I will be teaching with a colleague and hopefully getting feedback from students and improving the content and translations together with the fellow teacher. I think this was a really nice opportunity to test a number of services, but of course there still remain some issues to solve, and we can talk about them later. Obviously, things like version control and maybe some kind of access management for teachers that maybe CLARIN could do something about. So thank you very much. This was my part.
Thanks a lot, Mietta. And the next presentation is also recorded, right? We can launch a presentation now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. The oral archives for sociolinguistic research course has been prepared by Silvia Calamai and Rosalba Nodari, that is myself, at Siena University, Italy. Our goal is to show students the possibilities and the challenges offered by oral history archives in sociolinguistic research. Oral archives are often neglected artifacts However, they are able to provide a significant amount of unpublished material that can be used and reused by different users. This course is intended to provide a framework for students to guide them during their future research work. They will become acquainted with the CLARIN infrastructure. They will get in touch with software tools that can help them carrying out their own thesis research independently. The case study presented in our course is the Anna Maria Bruzzone's archive, currently held at the University of Siena. We have chosen Bruzzone's archives because some of the problems we previously faced have already been presented and partially solved by the CLARIN community. During the course, we will cover a number of different topics that must be addressed when dealing with oral archives, such as ethical and legal issues arising from using and reusing legacy data, the use of metadata to provide an appropriate level of description, automatic and manual transcription of the speech material using CLARIN infrastructure, and finally, the selection and use of the appropriate CLARIN software and tools depending on research goals. The course has been designed as a university learning module. It is structured as an online course that comprises a combination of lectures and practical exercises with tutorials on CLARIN tools. Students are invited to follow the lectures and to practice case studies working in small groups. The course is expected to be mostly hands-on with practical exercises and discussion. To conclude, we believe this course will give you an insight on some of the most challenging issues that will arise when dealing with oral archives of the past. We hope that the CLARIN community will find our contribution useful for any of their future work. And thank you.
We can then proceed with the next presentation. There is a video here too, so let's play the video now.
Hello, welcome. I'm happy to introduce you to this data protection roleplay. The data protection roleplay was a result of a workshop given in January 2021 by DELAT. DELAT is an initiative to share corpora of speech of people with communication disorders among researchers. DELAT does this in a GDPR-compliant way and at secure repositories in the CLARIN infrastructure. Now, as an introduction to this roleplay, I would like to share the following with you. Alice, a researcher, has developed an algorithm for voice conversion. This technique can alter the speech signal in a way so that the speakers could not be recognized by the third party. This kind of pseudonymized speech data is potentially useful for research in many other disciplines or research designs. The algorithm was developed based on speech samples collected from typical adult speakers of English, German, and Dutch. The next step is to test this algorithm on other languages, age groups, and speakers with different types of speech disorders. There's a data set that comprises speech samples of about 60 Polish-speaking children with speech difficulties associated with hearing impairment. The data set is available under restricted access conditions. The repository sees it as its responsibility to contact the representatives of data providers for permission. So you will engage in a meeting of stakeholders of the Polish dataset based on a method for a data protection impact assessment. They discuss if and under which conditions the dataset can be made available for this research purpose in the light of the GDPR.
So let's now, I think, move to the next presentation, which is also recorded. It's Voices of the Parliament by Daria Fischer and Christina Bauer. We can play the presentation.
This is a very short presentation of our tutorial, which aims to launch corpus linguistics into the orbits of other disciplines in order to enrich their methodology with methods adapted to explore language data. Our guiding question was, how can a non-linguist without programming skills exploit language resources? With this tutorial, we believe we offer one of the possible solutions to this problem. The tutorial consists of two parts. One is dedicated to theory, while the other part showcases the application of this theory to a real-life research problem. The tutorial enables two possible directions of use. The users can either start with a theory and then explore its application to the data, or jump right to the examples and refer back to the theory as they proceed. The tutorial is rich in cross-references, which enable easy navigation through the tutorial, but also provide additional explanations. It also includes screencasts, which make it easier to follow the instructions. The research problem we focused on investigates gender-related aspects of the production of Slovene parliamentarians. The theoretical part presents corpus linguistics, specifics of parliamentary records, and a short overview of gender studies into language. In the hands-on part, we use the CPARL 2.0 corpus, which is available through CLARIN SI and contains parliamentary debates with extensive metadata. CLARIN SI also provides this corpus through the NoSketch engine concordancer, which is a user-friendly tool to explore and analyze the corpus. All the resources and tools used in this tutorial are online and free of charge. No previous experience with concordancers are needed, no programming skills either. It's available in Slovene and English. In the tutorial, we demonstrate how to make subsets of data, use frequency lists, keywords, and collocations in order to find out first, how does the production of speeches by female and male parliamentarians differ? Then, what are the predominant topics of female parliamentarians in comparison to their male counterparts? And third, what do the parliamentarians focus on when the speeches refer to women? So, our tutorial showcases the power of basic corpus linguistic techniques for quantitative and qualitative analysis to uncover complex patterns and go beyond the researcher's intuition. The hands-on tasks are supported with concise explanations of the theoretical background, which ensures solid understanding of analytical techniques and the specifics of data. This helps prevent misinterpretation of the results, but also ensures that the users assimilate the techniques so that they can apply them to other data and research problems later on. The tutorial is primarily intended for researchers outside of linguistics, students in linguistics, and anyone interested in multidisciplinary research. You're welcome to try it out.
Thanks a lot, Christina, who is here with the camera open. I think that this was the last presentation, and you have seen the richness of materials that were contributed. So please, in the meantime, start concentrating on what was your favorite material, and while Juliana will let you know where to actually find these materials on the website of CLARIN.
Yes, thank you very much to all the presenters for this for their valuable presentations and also resources I've created. So all these materials can be accessed on our Teaching with CLARIN page, which you will find in the Learn and Exchange section. This is a preview of what is yet to come. So we plan to develop a platform for lecturers where they can share best practices in teaching and also exchange their experiences and share the materials or make the materials available for other lecturers who would like to reuse the work prepared by their colleagues. Of course, this reusability aspect needs to be further investigated. Some research and also from our own experience, we have learned that it's not very easy to reuse. There are certain issues involved, and sometimes even despite the amount of open source learning materials available on the internet, lecturers are sometimes reluctant to reuse the material. So more research is needed to learn more about their practices and how these materials can be adapted to their own teaching goals. So if you are a lecturer and you would like to reuse any of this training material in your own program, please contact us, and today together we will try to find a good strategy to help you out. And now I'll give the floor back to Francesca, who will announce the award.
Thanks a lot, Juliana. So you have seen that there is the competition was quite tough. More specifically, before I announce the awards, I would like just to give a quick rationale on how the jury, which was composed by CLARIN Erik experts, evaluated these training materials. So the criteria were accessibility, adaptability, and modularity. Just as Juliana said, it's very important to be able to reuse only parts of certain materials and not others. Clarity, comprehensibility, and readability. Of course, content and technical accuracy, but of course, last but not least, the appropriateness and relevance for CLARIN. So we assessed these materials, and now I will announce the two jury winners, which are, the first winner is Mietta Lennes for Introduction to Speech Analysis. Okay, so
what?
Congratulations, Mietta.
Oh.
Congratulations, Mietta.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm baffled.
I must say that it's not only for the materials that you have developed, but also for your long-term involvement with CLARIN.
Exactly.
And being part of our task force.
And in the teaching with CLARIN initiatives.
Yes.
And now I'm going to announce the second winner, which is Daria Fischer and Christina Power for Voices of the Parliament.
Thanks a lot. It's quite a surprise.
You are surprised for winning, or?
Yeah, definitely for winning. I mean, there were so many. When I saw the list of all the interesting materials that I also want to try out them by myself, I was like, okay, we don't stand a chance, but here we go. So thanks again to the jury, and I really hope that others will be able to use it to be able to use it in a nice way.
Yeah, I for one, I'm someone who has already used part of that training material when I had to give a presentation on a very short notice. So I cannot exclude that this influenced at least my judgment a little bit. But it's, yeah, check it out. It's a very nice material, as well as Mietta's, of course.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, but also invite people to send us feedback, because we'd like to continue and update and further develop the tutorial.
Definitely, the feedback aspect is something that we want to develop also for the whole of the platform, teaching platform. So now it's your turn. Your turn in terms of the audience's turn to choose the third winner. So we will launch an instant poll. You have to vote. Here's it just appeared on the screen. So you can choose your option.
And the third winner is GATE, an open source toolkit for natural language processing. Congratulations,
Diana.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for voting.
Congrats. Indeed, I think that GATE is a very, as you say, an important tool which has been around for a while, and the course also shows the richness and the quantity of content that you have produced. And of course, we hope that this integration of the GATE training material will also be an integration more generally of GATE into a better and stronger integration of GATE into the CLARIN ecosystem within also the activities of the CLARIN UK consortium. So congratulations again, Diana.
Thank you. And yes, that's our aim too, is to integrate it more fully. Thank you.
Congratulations. We are going to turn this Teaching with CLARIN call into an ongoing call that will be open between September or early October and June. More information will follow on our website. We will use this call to continue collecting best practices in teaching for integrating and using CLARIN into teaching, and try to publish some guidelines on the website for other lecturers who are interested in reusing the existing materials. In parallel, I'm also creating an inventory of other learning materials or objects created by lecturers in the CLARIN network. And together with Dieter, we will find a solution how to make this inventory available on our website. It should be, of course, searchable, and we will find a way to provide as much as a lot of metadata in order to increase the searchability and findability of these resources. And then we are going to collaborate with other lecturers in the network to create new learning materials, also about topics that are relevant directly for the CLARIN research infrastructure, and also in the context of upskills. We will continue increasing the trainers network. If you are interested in collaborating with us and have good ideas for new learning content and topics that are relevant for you and your programs, please let us know. And in the context of upskills, we are going, Francesca and I, and together with Daria as well, we are planning this cafe on the 1st of December between 2 and 4, where we will present the first guideline that we are developing for lecturers in linguistics, and also the first draft of the learning content on standards and repositories that we are creating for lecturers and also students in language and linguistics programs. And now we have 10 minutes left for questions. Francesca, the floor is yours.
Thanks. So exactly, we are quite on time, and we can take questions from the public. While we are waiting for questions to be put in the chat, I have one which I think that came out of the discussion. No, wait a second. I see a question for Zuzana, so I'll shut up and read this one. And it's a question for Zuzana by Andrews, and it says, I understand that for your DH course, students should already know how to program with Python. Otherwise, it might be difficult for them to understand the course. Are they taught Python in earlier courses?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Some of them are familiar with Python already. And for those who are not, the Jupyter notebooks are like complete or almost complete. So they only have to click like on the cells. And if they don't know how to change the cells, they don't have to, but they can slightly like change some values and see what's the difference, and that's it. So it can be for those who are familiar with Python, they can change the cells like more dramatically, and for those who are not, they don't have to. So they don't learn. They don't learn Python. Well, I think that by reading someone else's code and trying to change some values, you kind of learn. But they students of Faculty of Arts, so they are not like asked to learn Python, but at least they have to know what are, or have some slight, let's say, impression what is possible to do programmatically. And I also ask them to try to collaborate and well, not necessarily to become programmers, but just know what are the possibilities. So they learn, kind of.
It's an interesting point of view, whether being able to understand code is also in some sense, at least the first step into learning that might be discussed further.
Thank you for the questions, Andreas.
Francesca is asking, maybe this is a general question also to other courses, whether those that have prerequisite for Python, whether there are other more generic training materials that you kind of provide as a prerequisite or an indication to your students to build up these competencies somehow. This was Francesca de Jong's question in the chat.
So I don't know if it was only for me the question, but maybe there are some other courses with Python, so they can answer as well. Well, some of the Python courses are provided by the university, and I also recommend, for example, Code Academy or some other online courses.
Thanks a lot. Anyone else wants to add their indications? Even more generally, probably, what are the type of prerequisites and the kind of training that you provide for the more technical skills? Not only Python, but maybe other types of computational skills that your students may need. If you want to add also pointers to useful training materials in the chat, it's I'm sure it's going to be very well received.
Sorry. Also, if I may add something, I don't I provided information about how to install Python, but I also provided the Jupyter notebooks via Google Colab. So they only had to click on some URL and then click on the cells.
Yeah, actually, I think that I mean, we have various materials that make use of Jupyter notebooks. It's becoming more and more used, I would say, in this type of courses. Okay, here also the comment from Mietta. I think that the applied language technology course, yeah, exactly, is an introduction to Python as well. So you have the reference there. In Utrecht, says Jan, we teach Python for corpus processing together with some CLARIN corpus application. Same in Nijmegen. So yeah.
But indeed, I agree, Francesca, that we could maybe collect pointers with best practice information or experience descriptions, so that people that would need this on top of their own module would get some inspiration from it. Of course, we can't be a recommender system in all its meanings, but yeah, something to discuss.
Yeah, I think that partly we are already doing it. Juliana may be able to say more. I think in the meantime, Martin has also, of course, pointed to the large inventory of courses on the programming historian, which, as he rightly says, is not just for historians. Yeah, actually, this discussion is really also to kind of guide us into designing this ecosystem for sharing training materials. And of course, as Francesca just said, what one may want to do is also to create, not only to upload resources, but to create relationship links between resources, both between resources and language resources and pedagogical materials, and between various types of materials that could be kind of used in a sequence, or could create paths for use in the classroom.
Yes, and also in the context of upskills, my colleagues have collected quite a large inventory of available open source training materials on different topics, including programming and other topics relevant for the digital skills. I'm not really sure if that inventory will be published, but I hope I hope we will. Question to Juliana: would the session on the 1st of December be relevant for data stewards? We haven't really designed the program yet, but definitely it's an interesting topic because it is a new role, basically, that is more and more relevant at universities. And for sure, we will try to include that as a discussion point in the program.
Yeah, indeed, in the last upskills seminar, we invited a data steward to present this new profession, because we believe that at least for some of the students that come out of our programs, that at least data stewardship for a specific type of data, of course, might be a possible career option, which I think we were discussing about this in the coffee with the BOD or lunch with the BOD. It's, I mean, there's going to be more and more data stewards hired in the academic sector, and definitely we want to make sure that we can train them properly also for what concerns our type of data.
I think that would be a great idea, especially on standards and repositories.
Yes.
That is a topic that now I see data stewards are giving guest lectures about, and they lack specific discipline-specific know-how and practices. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, I think that it's to be continued. Again, this next cafe is really, we feel that every now and then we should have a teaching the cafe to continue the discussion. But I think that we were kind of very disciplined this year. If you remember last year's session, it was a little bit less so, but we improve. So we can actually make use of the break before the bazaar. Yeah, yes. Henk, that confirms that data steward is a very relevant career for students in our field. Exactly. So.
Yeah. And indeed, we can also continue the discussions in the bazaar session dedicated for training and knowledge exchange.
So I think that we can conclude. I don't know if I need to have the last slide projected, but maybe it would be better. Yeah.
The last slide contained only the links.
So exactly. So what maybe the most important link that can be put in the chat is the link to the training mailing list that you can actually use to ask questions, to get information about our material. So please subscribe to the mailing list. Email at training@clarin.eu if you want to contact us. So Juliana in the first place, and all the team of people that are actually behind these initiatives, these activities. And then, of course, check out CLARIN events, and if you use Twitter, follow us on Twitter, because there will be more and more, hopefully, announcements related to this topic, to these topics, and so you can stay tuned and, of course, give us input. And I would like to conclude saying that we will not stop collecting training materials, and therefore, please, if you haven't done yet, get in touch to contribute your own materials.